Right, so if you look at all my products right now, it's leading off with the Butler box, which is the bundle, the biggest thing, and it doesn't really explain context as to why they need it. And then all of my products are down here, and I hated these little icons. They didn't feel like they represented exactly what they were. We looked at the future and how they were presenting their products, and I really liked that. One of the things that they did was they just showed, and we'll just pull it up, it was just a featured image, a title, and a price. And then they had this cool hover effect over their products, and I think I want to do the same thing. So yeah, right here. It's a featured image, a title, the author, and the price. I don't think we need to show the author, but I like that. That's very clean. So this little square right here is gonna be our product. One thing that I could do, because I know that I'm gonna have 3 columns, is I could make 3 boxes like this, and then just grab them and pull them across my content area, and then get my little ruler line, and then boom, there you go. So I know I need to stay within these confines. Now, I'm gonna get rid of this, and this will be my product area. And I don't want it to, I wanna have a little bit of padding in between my products, right? So padding is that space between the elements. So I don't want it to like touch each other. So I'm gonna have a little bit of padding between them. And I'm gonna pull it up right here. And I think like this is enough room to where I can show the image, the title, and the price, and then have a hover effect. And so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna create this as a smart object. The smart object allows me to have a layer inside Photoshop to where I could move it around and manipulate it like I would any other layer. But if I double click it, now that it's a smart object, it opens this thing up in its own PSD, its own Photoshop file. And now I can manipulate this and change it however I want. And I could have this be like my standard item. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change this background to like white. And I'm gonna make this layer. I'm gonna go to new background from layer. I just like having a background so that I can line things up towards it. But what are my elements again? I have my featured image, right? Which is gonna be basically a box area, right? And I want this to fill up the whole product element. So my featured image, our title, and our price. And I think that we could start pulling from here. So this is gonna be like this 32 point. And I think I'm gonna get my header 2 for my title. And we'll call this, because the first course in the Butler box is called brand positioning. I wanna make sure that I have enough room for 2 lines, because I know some of them are gonna be more text needed. So that means I may need to sacrifice some of this featured image space. This is a good size for the price. Tighten up the line spacing here. So I have my title, I have my price, and I have enough room to where I think it feels good. And now we can have this area for our product's featured image. And so I'm gonna go back to my folder over here, and these are the graphics that Chris created. And so here's the positioning course. So we're gonna go ahead and drop this in. Now you see it's kind of like, oh shoot, man, it's gonna like go all over the place. Well, you can see I already created our rectangle over here. In fact, I'm gonna change the colors so that we know what this is. We'll just turn this blue just so you can see the difference. You know, how do I make this to where it fits? Well, I have this rectangle, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a mask over this. So I make sure over here on my layers panel that my actual featured image is over the rectangle area that I've set for it. I'm gonna hold Alt and go in between them and click down, and then boom, it creates a mask. And so I can, you know, move it anywhere within this area. And so I think that fits pretty well right there. Positioning, brand positioning. And then boom, I have my little product box area. Here's the thing, this is a white background on top of a white background. I don't like that. I like to show a little bit of contrast between the element and the background. And so there's a couple ways I could do this. One is I could change the whole area behind the positioning, right? To where this background color, I just add a color, and let's just, you know, add like a light gray. See what that looks like. I don't think I'm gonna like it, but we'll see. The other option is to change the background area of this section, which is I could just create a box. Okay, and again, I want this to be 1920 and you know, it's however big it needs to be. So here's our background, and I can change the background color to a super light gray. I kind of like the way that feels better, to have a light gray background and then a white area for the text. And so I'm going to move that down so that way there's a little bit of breathing room between the top of the gray new section and the top of the product. And so I like to typically have about 40 to 70 pixels between elements so that it gives a little bit of breathing room. And I feel good about that. Now, again, this is a smart object. So I'm going to title this, instead of rectangle, it's going to be called brand positioning. Now, because this is a smart object, I can double click and edit in this little rectangle area that I created. But I want to copy this over. Now, if I just duplicate this over by like holding Alt or copy and paste and update this, if I make any change, which is like, let's just do this, for example, it changes it to the previous one. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to just copy my smart object. What I want to do is go here to the smart object and put new smart object via copy. So this is its own smart object that you have created as a copy. So now I could go over here and get rid of this element, and look at, I changed that and boom, it didn't change my first one. So now I'm confident about that. After positioning goes marketing. And we'll change this to marketing. And the cost on that one is $197. And I have a different image for that, marketing featured image. Do the same thing to where I got to put this layer on top of the placeholder and then properly position it. Marketing, $197. Save that, boom. So we have brand positioning, we have marketing. I'm gonna do the same thing, new smart object via copy, rinse and repeat. Okay, so I feel much better about this. Already this is starting to take some shape and take some form. So look at this. So we have our scale your agency area. So in fact, if I wanted to go here and hide my rulers and also hide my guides, gives me kind of a better idea of what this is gonna look like. Okay, simple white background. Maybe it's too plain. Maybe I'll do something a little bit different back there. Who knows? But we have our logo, our menu, and it's just very simple. Like, we might not need anything super crazy over here. I think the video thumbnail might be able to speak for itself. But one thing that I want to do is I want to get all these things. Oops. I'm going to lock that background layer. In fact, I'll call this rectangle background, lock it, and then put all of these in a group and call this products. So now we're keeping this all nice and clean. So you can see I can have 4 groups. I have my assets, which I'm gonna move down. These are my colors and my fonts. I have my hero section, which I can hide. I have my menu area, and then I have my products.